We talked about the OR split, we talked about the OR join, and now we have something special, some small modification of this OR split and OR join. It's the XOR split and the XOR join. The XOR means that you have either the one or the other. So you cannot have both together like in the OR split. In the OR split, it is allowed to actually decide for both sequences, or maybe if you have more than two sequences which you could continue with, then you could also decide for two or three different sequences you continue with. It depends on the result of the function. But here in the XOR split, you are allowed to only continue with one of the following sequences. So you explicitly know that only one possibility is allowed. You have a special sign for the XOR. The special sign is shown in the upper right corner. You have this either you write XOR in the circle, or you just write an X in the circle, so that you know that here it's an XOR in difference to the OR and in difference to the AND. And again, you have some constellation which is not allowed. It's not allowed to set up an XOR after an event. And the reason is the same like like that you are not allowed to have an OR after an event. You know that when you have the confirmation sent, when you describe a certain business state, and you describe a certain state within your enterprise, then this state is fixed. You cannot choose anymore from this state. You describe a state with different variables within your company. And then you are not allowed to make a selection anymore, such that you select either the one sequence or the other sequence. So an XOR after an event is not allowed. An XOR is only allowed when you have a function, when you want to put the XOR after the function. Like here in the inspect application, you inspect the application of a member maybe, and you then decide after you finished the function, what actually happened here during the inspection. Does it lead to an approval of the application, or does it lead to a rejection? So after the function, you have a certain result. You can choose regarding the result in which branch you would like to continue your business process. And here in the XOR case, it's only one branch you are allowed to continue with. So either the one or the other, and it's not allowed like in the OR construct to continue with more than one branch. And similar to the OR join, you have an XOR join. You join when you come from either the one sequence or the other sequence. And of course, if you have more sequences, you could run into the XOR as well. Then you might decide for continuing after the XOR when you arrive in one of the many sequences you have before. And again, like in the XOR, like in the OR join case, you don't have to think about what is allowed, what is not allowed. You just can finish with a function before the XOR or with an event before the XOR join. So in the first case, you again receive either a complaint via email or a complaint via phone call. And this is here an exclusive OR such that you can choose only one of these branches, and then you will continue with the aggregated event complaint received. And in the other example, you arrive with two possible events before the XOR. So you either have the application approved or the application rejected. That's some decision which is made before somehow, doesn't matter how. And you then arrive with either the one event or the other event before the XOR join, and you continue when you have one of these events, you continue with the information of the applicant. So it's allowed to have a function before the XOR or an event, and you of course have to continue with the corresponding construct. After function it's an event, or after the event it's a function which follows to the XOR construct here.